You know, there's one thing I learned from In the Heights, and that's if I'm ever late at work or maybe I miss a deadline, I'm just gonna reply with paciencia y fe. And if that doesn't work, well, I got nothing. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today we're talking about one of my most anticipated movies of the year, In the Heights. A huge thank you to Warner Brothers for allowing me to see this in person at my local AMC Dolby Theater. And trust me guys, you're going to want to see this on the biggest screen possible with the biggest sound possible because this movie is amazing. Now before we dive into what I liked and what I didn't like, if you're already here guys, welcome to the channel, and if it is your first time, we talk about movies like this all the time, so if you don't want to miss out, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and tap on that bell so you'll be the first one in the comments for reviews for the rest of summer and beyond. And if you haven't already, go ahead and get loud in the comments below and let me know which song from In the Heights is your favorite and which moment was your favorite in the movie, and go ahead and smash that thumbs up button if you're a big fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda and all of his musicals, because guys, after Hamilton, I mean, this man can do no wrong. Now the film is directed by Jon M and it stars Anthony Ramos as Usnavi, Melissa Barrera as Vanessa, Corey Hawkins as Benny, and Leslie Grace as Nina. Now there are so many more actors and actresses that I fell in love with in this movie that we will talk about in a little bit, but if you're like me and you've never seen the original play and you've only heard the original cast recording, let's dive into the story just a little bit. In the Heights centers around Usnavi, a young bodega owner in Washington Heights who dreams of a better life for himself, his cousin Sonny, and his abuela Claudia. It's really a slice of life film, guys, that is incredibly immersive, and trust me when I say this, seeing it in the theater made all the difference. Alrighty y'all, so let's get right into what I loved about In the Heights and why this is really one of those must-see summer movies. And it doesn't start with the music, guys, it really starts with the cast, and Usnavi is the main character here. This is where the story begins. It literally opens with Anthony Ramos, who plays Usnavi, and you might know Anthony Ramos from a ton of different projects, especially Hamilton, but he's really coming into his own in Hollywood. He oozes positivity and charisma as Usnavi. His energy is infectious, and he really is the cog that keeps everything running in this story, and I loved how he made these songs his own. This is a very daunting task for not only him but everyone in the cast, because In the Heights is a beloved play, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, this is one of his earlier plays, if not his first major hit on Broadway, so I do think that this is going to be one of those movies where some fans will love the original content, appreciate the new stuff, but for me as someone who never saw the play, I do think that some of the songs here sounded even better than the original cast recording. And that's not only because of Anthony Ramos, but also Melissa Barrera, who plays Vanessa. This is actually the first time I've seen her in anything, and wow. She's absolutely incredible as Usnavi's love interest and an ambitious character who wants to own her own business, making clothes and chasing her dreams. Her connection to Washington Heights is probably one of the strongest of any of the characters in the movie, and I loved her solo number in that first half. Honestly, whenever she sang anything, it blew me away. And her dancing, my goodness, she's excellent in this film. There's this nightclub scene and oh guys, it blew me away. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's move on to another character that I loved in this movie, Nina, who's played by Leslie Grace. Her and Benny, played by the wonderful Corey Hawkins, have a relationship that's contingent on whether Nina decides to stay or leave for college. Leslie Grace, in my opinion, has the strongest vocals among any of the cast in this movie, and there's this number she has in the very beginning of the movie where she's reflecting on her past as a younger version of herself, runs by her, and it is beautiful to see, but honestly it gave me goosebumps because the way she belts out some of these notes, and I think that her runs are just so perfect in this movie that Leslie Grace really is one of those forces to be reckoned with in this film, and I can't wait to see what she does next. And then there's Corey Hawkins, who continues to surprise me in every role. I think he's a great actor, but seeing him in this movie really makes me want to see him in more musicals, to be honest. He and Nina really do have this great synergy together, and I think their chemistry really is just so darn off the charts. And I also love the conversations in this movie in between the numbers with anyone, including Usnavi and Sonny. And speaking of Sonny, guys, he is a scene stealer in this film. Gregory Diaz IV kills it as Usnavi's cousin, and I actually liked him a lot in Vampires vs. the Bronx too, but here, he's on another level. His comedic timing is really spot on, and I loved his quippy one-liners that had me and the rest of our theater laughing, and I do think that his story arc is among the strongest in the film itself. Now, when it comes to everyone else, guys, I do think that the chemistry among this cast is great. You can just tell they were having fun on set and they really bought into the script, but there were some standouts. Olga Merediz as Abuela Claudia, who is sweet, caring, and really provides a lot of heartfelt moments in this movie, did a great job. And Jimmy Smits as Kevin, Nina's father, who owns Rosario's, which is a car service, a taxi service company. It was just So good to see him in this role, and this is honestly his best performance that I've seen in many, many years. And guys, before we talk about the absolutely amazing soundtrack, I promise we'll get there, can we talk about director Jon M and how he pulled off this fantastic film? You might know him from Crazy Rich Asians, another film that I absolutely loved, but here he one-ups himself and really proves that he knows how to frame these big musical numbers. From the opening scene, I knew that this movie would be something very special, and I loved the way he played with colors. What we were looking at was just as vibrant as the music, because sometimes they do go hand in hand, or maybe one can make up for something lacking in another department, but both were just really crescendoing at the right time, and they just played so well to the tone of this film, which is very positive and inspirational. And there's something really cool that Jon M does in this movie too. In most film adaptations of a big Broadway musical, I'm so used to seeing a lot of the numbers include background actors and actresses that will sing along with our main cast. But here in this movie, I noticed that In the Heights allows the actors in the background to just sort of speak to one another as if they were singing, but not really belting out the tune. So it felt very natural, immersive, and it really just didn't take away from anything. If anything, it added to the film. It's just incredibly immersive, and Jon M just gets it. His big vision for this film fits the grand scale of the musical, and there's a reason why he's gonna be directing Wicked, that film adaptation of another Broadway hit. So now guys, let's talk about the music and how I haven't been able to get any of these songs out of my head. Like I said, I never watched the original play, but I did listen to the original cast recording on Apple Music, and I did enjoy every single song, and it was easy to really just start one track and continue going through everything and allowing the play to kind of go on in my head. And it's funny, I noticed that I was actually painting a different picture from what the film gave me, but I'm happy because what the film did deliver was near perfect. But oh my goodness guys, the musical production, the choreography, and even the storytelling within the lyrics was just otherworldly. I didn't find any of the songs to feel out of place, even though I did feel a couple maybe ran a little long, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but for the most part, everything here was necessary. It really did feel like a complete experience, which is what was delivered by the end of the film, and some of my favorite numbers were that opening sequence, No Me Diga, the nightclub scene, the Carnaval del Barrio, and even 96,000. I could go on and on and on, but those were really some of the standouts for me, if not only because of the grand scale of those numbers, but because of how intimate it felt. For me, I thought they were singing directly to me as a moviegoer, and that's pretty cool. There's also a very interactive feel to each number, especially in the No Me Diga number. Make sure you pay attention to those mannequin heads in that sequence, because not only is Carla, Cuca, and Daniela just very, I don't know, I guess infectious with their energy that they bring to that number, it's everything surrounding them that makes it feel so darn immersive. And even the actors who aren't necessarily trained singers like Jimmy Smith still did a great job. Between the music, the storytelling, and the acting, guys, this movie really is something so special. But for as much as I'm raving about the film, let's get into some of the things that didn't really feel like they worked as well as the other areas in this movie. So even though this was a movie-going experience that helped me escape reality for nearly 2.5 hours, I did feel like the length was felt on that back end. And what I mean is, by the third act, I did feel like the movie was being drawn out a little too much. I was wondering where it would stick its landing, because it maybe could have come 10, 20, 25 minutes before it did, and I'm not unhappy with where the movie ended. I just think that it would have been a little bit more, I guess, of an impactful experience if it would have just cut off about 10 or 15 minutes of the movie. And in that third act, another thing that didn't work for me was how some of the storylines between our characters felt a little bit thin. There are layers to Nina's story, for example, between her and her father, and then you have another layer, which is her romantic relationship between Nina and Benny. And I'm using her as an example because I do think that Nina's story here is the most layered, but Nina and Benny's romantic storyline was wrapped up in a very rushed way in that third act. I appreciated what director Jon M pulls off with all of our characters here, and there are some really impressive scenes like Nina and Benny walking on a building while singing another number, but I didn't feel like some of these arcs were as complete as other moments in this film. But that's about all I didn't like when it comes to In the Heights, and it's not even enough of a negative for me not to want to go back and watch this movie again. I want to see it one more time in theaters. I want to watch it 2 or 3 times on HBO Max. This is an incredible experience. The acting, the romance, the music, it's just near perfect in every area, and I can't recommend this movie enough, especially for fans of the musical who are going to see this movie regardless. The energy is infectious, and the film's overall message was one of don't give up on your dreams, and it made me want to actually dream bigger and inspired me to not give up on certain dreams. Kind of like this stream of me talking about movies with you guys. And even though there's an inspirational tone to this film because of the music, director Jon M gives it the cinematic touch it needed from a direction standpoint. I could go on and on and on about In the Heights, but what I will say is that you owe it to yourself to embrace this movie this summer, because not only will it be probably the best movie I'll see this summer, but it is one of the most unique movie-going experiences that I've had in years. So if I had to rate this movie, guys, In the Heights gets a very strong 4.5 out of 5, and yes, it is sitting in my top 5 for the year. I can't believe what we witnessed, guys, but hey, it worked, it was amazing, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. So guys, go ahead and get loud in the comments below and let me know what you think about In the Heights when you see it this weekend in theaters or on HBO Max. And if you haven't already, smash that big red button below and subscribe to the channel. Tap on that bell and hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this review and want to see many more just like it. Alrighty, y'all, I'm gonna go and literally listen to the only 2 songs that are available currently on Apple Music. It's the intro and the 96,000 number. It's just incredible, and I can't wait to get lost in this movie again. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening.